Okay, today I'm going to show you how to use the alignment tool in the Roblox Studio. Okay, so first, if you go to the Model tab, and you may notice this Align tool. If you click it, you will open the Align toolbox, right? So there are some options for you to click. I want to create two parts so I can demonstrate the usage of this align tool. So first, let me create one part and duplicate and drag it out. So I want to make one of them a little bit larger so I can demonstrate the alignment. Okay, a little bit, yeah, like this. Okay, and I want to lift it up a little bit and also lift it up this one to somewhere. Yeah, okay. Now we have two parts, right? So if you look at the alignment tool and you saw the mode, so that means the mode means there you have three positions to align the parts. So either on the minimum side or on the maximum side or in the center line. Okay, so as you can see, the icons are also showing that. So for the y direction, that means you are aligned to either bottom, center line, or top. Okay. Um, Align in, you can either use the world space or the local space. Okay, so most time I think easier is using the world space because it's very quickly in check by this world coordination system which direction you are aligned. If you're using the local, sometimes because the parts is rotation or they have different local space, so could be a little bit confusing. So the X, Y, Z direction, of course, that means which direction you want the parts to be aligned. Relative to, there are two options here. So either you can using the selection bounds or the active object. So I want to demonstrate the active object first because this is more often used in my experience if you want to align one part to another part, then active object is the one you want to use. Okay, so for example, if we want to align this small part to the top side of the larger part. So what we can do is that we know this is a y direction. So let's check y, and we want to align to the top, right? So that's a maximum, okay? And then we want this small piece to be aligned to the larger piece. So we need a reference. So if we click active object, you can see that this small piece now is showing the orange colored frame indicating now this is a reference material. But of course, we need a select the larger piece as a reference material, not the small part. So um, when you select the parts, always select the part you want, which you want to move first. Okay, put the reference material as the last one you select. Okay, so in this case, I want to move the small part first. I want to move the small part. Okay, so first I select this one, and I hold the Control button on my keyboard, and I select the reference part because reference part is not moving, right? So we want to move the small part. So now as you can see, the larger part is showing the orange colored frames indicating this is a reference part. Okay, so now if I move my mouse cursor to the align to area, you immediately notice that in the game window there is a yellow colored dash line showing the boundaries, and also there's a yellow colored area on the top of the reference part indicating um, um, if that's the direction we want the small part to be moved to. So in this case, yes, that's the direction we want the small part to move, right? So at the same time, also you may notice that the align button is highlighted now. So if we click, and then the small part will move to the top to be aligned with the larger part. Okay, right? And now align to is unactivated. You cannot click anymore. Okay, so but what we can do is that if we want to align to the center line, now I click the center. Now the align button is reactivated again, and there is a yellow area showing in the center of the reference part. So if I click align, you will notice the small part is moving to the center uh, to be aligned with the center line of the reference part. Okay, and we can also, of course, align to the bottom, right? So if I click the minimum, now as you can see that a yellow area is now is moved to the bottom side of the reference part, right? So if I click align, now the small part is moved to aligned with the reference part at the bottom side. Okay, so that's how you can do the alignment. Of course, this one can change it to the different directions. So if I uncheck the Y and check the X direction, now you can see that the yellow colored area is showing on the right side of the reference part, right? Of course, I can change that. I don't want to, for example, I don't want the small part to align it to that direction. I want them to align along the z direction. So I need to change to the z direction. Now, as you can see that that's the direction I want the small part to be aligned with the reference part. Now, if I click align, now as you can see that the small part moved towards the right side a little bit, so to be aligned on right side. If I want to align to the left side, then I switch to the direction in the mode, okay, in another side. Click the mode here, and then click align. It will align it to the left side. Okay, so it's very useful. Okay, so now I want to demonstrate how we can use this. For example, if we create a part, I want to use this as a floor, right? So this is the floor. Okay, I want to duplicate this piece. Okay, and make it a wall, right? So if I want to move towards the center area, okay, I drag a little bit up. Okay, so for example, I want this wall or this corner to be perfectly aligned with my floor. So what we can do is, so I select the wall first, right? And hold Control, select the floor. Now floor is the reference part. Okay, you see the orange color frame, right? So that means the floor is reference part. Now I want to move this wall to the left side so that they can align along this direction, okay, along this edge. So let's see. As you can see, when I move my mouse cursor, the Roblox Studio showing the yellow colored area, but that's not the direction I want to move. So I unclick that. It should be the X direction, right? So X direction. Okay, so that's the side I want to be. I want the small part to be aligned. Now I can click align. Now, as you can see that's perfectly aligned, right? So you can take a really close look at the edge. See, right? So you don't see any interface actually, right? So they are perfectly aligned, okay? So I can also duplicate a part. So duplicate by press Control D and drag it out. So I want this one to be aligned on another side of the floor, right? So since this is selected, I hold Control and click the floor. Now floor again becomes a reference part. So let's see, because this will be the another side along the X direction, right? So okay, so the yellow screen appeared again. So I click align. As you can see now, another wall is perfect aligned. Let's see. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see that they're perfectly aligned, right? So you don't see the interface actually, right? So that's how you can align the wall to the floor. Of course, you need another other two walls so that you can create this. Okay, so let's duplicate, drag it out, and I'm going to rotate. So check the rotate, make sure it's 90-degree, and click the rotate button here, and I rotate. Okay. However, now the wall has different length with the floor, so let's check if, okay, they're the same length. So for example, now for the wall or for the floor, this direction, I want to check the size. Okay, so go to the properties. I think this is X direction, right? So make sure we are using, yes, we are in the local space because now it's showing using word space. That means we are in the local space right now. Okay, so for the floor, the X direction is 53. Okay, so that's the size along the X direction. Okay, so I want to make sure the wall has the same size, same dimension along the X direction. Okay, if I click this, okay, now because it's a local space, right? So as you can see that for this direction, actually, for the wall, it should be the blue, so that will be the Z direction. Okay, so I forgot the number. Oh, it's 53 for the floor. So I want to make sure for the wall is also 53. So right now it's 39. I'm going to check a change to 53. Okay, now they have same length. Okay, but of course they are not aligned because as you can see, this one is sticked out. So I'm going to do the alignment in two directions. So first I want to move or align this wall to this side of the floor. Okay, so what we can do is, since this one is already selected, I'm holding the control, select the floor. Okay, and which direction are we seeing here? Okay, no, that's not the direction, so I'm checking this one. As you can see, it's the Z direction, right? So check this one. Okay, perfect. That's the direction we're going to align, and I click align. Now, as you can see that on this side, they are perfectly aligned, right? But I also need to align this direction as well. Okay, so select the wall, hold the control, select the floor. Okay, so let's check not the Z direction. Actually, is X direction. Okay, X direction. Okay, now if I click align, as you can see that now the wall is perfect aligned with the floor, right? So, okay, right? So of course I can duplicate this wall. Okay, Control D, drag it out. Okay, I want this wall to be aligned on this side. So hold the control, select the floor. Need to switch to the Z direction, but it's another side. Okay, now as you can see that this yellow colored screen showing that that's the position we want to align. So, okay, now it's good. Click align. Okay, now as you can see that we created a perfect alignment for the four walls. Okay, right? So that's how you create the perfect alignment using the align to. Okay, yeah, I think yeah, so yeah, yeah, that's what I want to talk about is how to use the align to. Okay, thank you.